The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
We will now be joined by Alabama A&M head coach Connell Maynor. Do we have Coach Maynor on the line with us?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. First off, thank you for hopping on, and thank you for hopping on this entire year with us, as this will be our last call. But as we have in weeks past, Coach, if you could please open us up with a statement about your team's most recent game at Alcorn State.
I thought it was a well-played game. Two good football teams, two well-coached teams. We knew it was going to be a battle. Alcorn, 4 or 5 time defending champs, and represented the SWAC last year in the Celebration Bowl. So we knew it was going to be a battle. They're champions. They battle-tested, and it came right down to the end. They jumped out on us and scored, and we scored. And we scored right before half to tie it up, 14-14, left them a minute left, and they went down and scored and took a 21-14 lead. We came out, got the ball, scored, tied it up. And then they scored, and we scored, and they missed the extra point. And then we scored and got the extra point, so we took a 28-27 lead. And stayed away for a couple of possessions, and they scored and took the lead, and we had a couple opportunities in the fourth quarter with the ball. We just had to go down and get a score, keep the extra point, and we could take the lead, and we weren't able to do it. You got to take your hacks out to Alcorn and Fred. That defense held us when they had to, and at the end of the day, they made one more play than we did. It was a great football game.
Coach Maynor, looking at the stat line, Bentley, 29 carries, 245 yards, 4 touchdowns. So impressive game for him. He's done pretty much what he's done throughout his career and what he's done throughout his season for you. But can you just touch on what he brought to the game for you guys?
He brings everything. You know, when he's running the ball like that, he opens up the passing game for a quill. And, we can do it. A lot of things when he's running the ball like that, to keep the defense off balance. And that's what we was able to do. That's why we was able to put up the yardage we did, put up the points we did on the number 1 defense in the conference, is because Bentley was running the ball so well. But you got to give credit to the offensive line. They was opening up holes. And then when we threw the ball, they was protecting the quill. So it really starts up front with those guys. But Bentley is Bentley. He's going to do a tremendous job. He had all 4 of our touchdowns. And, he has the heart of a champion, man. I really wanted to get that win for him, and they just sent him out with an opportunity to play for a championship, but one able to get it done.
Coach Maynor, if you could, obviously you got one more game on your schedule to finish off the year. You'll host Mississippi Valley State. Can you preview that matchup for us?
Yeah, Mississippi Valley is much improved, probably the most improved team in the whole league. Coach is doing a great job down there. You got those guys believing and playing hard. It's amazing. It's amazing from where they were last year to where they are this year. They got the potential to beat anybody they play, and I just hope it ain't gonna be us this week.
Coach, when you look at them on film studies, what has stood out so far?
Well, offensively, they got a little dual threat quarterback. He's dynamic, man. He can beat you with his legs or he can beat you with his arm. They spread you out and try to keep you honest, and if you don't get the right numbers, then they're going to run him, and he's very, very effective doing that. Defensively, they're flying around, man. They're hitting. Safeties are coming down, headhunters. They're flying around, man. They're playing hard, and that's the biggest difference in that team.
Good morning, Coach Maynor. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
Doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, I was listening to that game on the edge of my seat, and I was wondering if you could recap that last drive. You got down to the red zone, and you had a timeout left, a little time, but I don't know if there was some confusion or whatnot. Some time ran down, which probably could have got you another play or two to try to get into the end zone. Could you explain that scenario for me?
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. We threw one down to about the 15, 20-yard line, somewhere around there, with, I think, 13 seconds. And so what I originally did was signal for the spike, and we called a play. And so the guys ran to the ball. But, you're supposed to be able to spot the change and let the change get set before you restart the clock. and he kind of he started that clock pretty fast there, and we tried to run a play, and then we wound up holding the ball, and then we threw it away, and when we threw it away, he threw it way in the stands, so another couple of seconds ran off. But it was poor clock management. I should have clocked it or called a timeout there with 13 seconds, and it would have got us three plays. Instead, we only got 2 plays. So yeah, you're correct. That was my mistake. I probably should have either clocked it or called a timeout there, and we would have better get 3 plays instead of 2 plays.
Okay, I know it was a disappointing loss for you, Coach, and the hype has been on Glass, which I don't call it hype anymore. He's been consistent throughout his playing career, and you still have the advantage of trying to get it done again with him. Can you summarize what this guy means to your program?
Everything. You know, your quarterback is your coach on the field, your leader, and everybody looks up to him. Everybody respects him, and he's a leader on and off the football field. And you know, he means everything. When you got a quarterback like Glass that's performing the way he's performing, and those guys look up to him. He gets them together in the summertime and for 7-on-7, and everybody shows up because he texts them. That's what you want. You want a leader like that, a guy that can make that text, send that text out, and everybody shows up, offense and defense. And that's what the guys are kind of rallying around him. It started this summer, and I'm sure it's going to continue next summer as he goes into his senior year. But he means everything to our team. He's the leader. He spreads the ball around. Everybody likes him, and he's a fighter. He's a fighter. He gives us a chance to win every football game that we play because of his ability.
Now, Coach, I know you have one final game with Valley, but the head should always be on the swivel. When you're looking at adding pieces to help complete this team, where do you begin to plug those pieces in?
Well, of course, we got to replace Bentley. Bentley will be gone. We got to replace him. And then on the offensive line, we're going to lose four offensive linemen, so we got to replace those guys. The rest of the offense is coming back. All the receivers are coming back. The quarterback's coming back. The rest of the running backs are coming back. Defensively, safeties. We got to recruit some safeties. Maybe get a couple of transfers or a JUCO guy in there. We're losing one of our corners, so we got to replace a couple corners. And then D-line, we got to get some more guys on the defensive line. Replace Price and just upgrade that position a little bit. Linebacker will be. We have to sign some young guys, but we'll have both our linebackers back. So we'll be fine at that position, but we just got to beef up the defensive line a little bit and replace Price and then replace some of those safeties that we're going to lose in the secondary.
All right, Coach, thank you very much, sir. Enjoyed the year with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time with the teleconferences this year, and we look forward to speaking with you to preview next season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Alabama State Hornets dropped a 49-12 decision to Florida State this past weekend, and we will be joined by head coach Ely. Do we have Coach Ely on the line with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Coach, and much like we said to Coach Maynard, thank you so much for your time on the calls this year and for your flexibility in instances to work with our schedule. So we really appreciate that. We'll go ahead and dive right into it, Coach, as we have in weeks past. If you could please just start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing at Florida State.
Well, you know, the score isn't definitely indicative to how well these young men played. They played extremely hard. You know, it was up. We knew it was uphill battle going into there. We was able to get a kickoff return across the 15, was able to get down and actually get on the board first. And, you know, we had some opportunities there. We had 3 missed field goals, so we was able to move the football on them. They had 4 big plays for touchdowns, and you know, it was a good ball game, great experience for the young men. But more importantly, the guys fought hard for all 4 quarters, and thought the coaches coached hard as well, and was able to, you know, to get out of there, and you know, didn't get out with a win, but you know, that this time of the season going in playing a Power 5, you know, it's one of those situations, you know, the experience and more importantly, playing out of conference. You know, I think the the guys just played a hard game.
Coach, you alluded to the score there in the third quarter, 21-12. I think the final score, as you mentioned, isn't indicative to the competitive nature of that ball game. But for your club to go into a stadium, 50,000 plus in the fans, and you look up in the third quarter and you're, right at, less than 2 scores away. Just talk a little bit about that and also what that does just from a mental standpoint, just for your ball club as far as knowing that they can compete with some of the best.
Well, the thing about it is, in that third quarter was 21-12, but, to that point we had missed 3 field goals and we failed on a 2-point conversion. So that was 11 points that we had still out there on the field that we didn't capitalize on. And I just think as we got the game went on and moved on into the fourth quarter, it, was just able to wear us down. I mean, you look over on the other sideline, there's 110 guys in helmets ready to go, and hell, even it was just a big atmosphere. But the guys handled it well, and I think for what we could, we gave them what we had, but unfortunately, wasn't enough.
Coach, the quarterback position, obviously, Davis had 262 yards and a touchdown. Can you assess his play and also just the play of the offense in general there for the first 3 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you go in and you get you throw for 260 yards against anybody, especially a Power 5, it just shows you not only how well he was throwing the football, but how well they were blocking. They were humongous up front. The average front was 6'4", 340s, and one was 6'4", 370. I mean, they were real big, so we knew we couldn't really just knock them off the football, that we had to try to get on the edge and things of that nature. But he did a great job of getting the ball, into the flats and behind the backers, and the guys did a great job of catching the ball, Booker, as well as Jefferson. Again, to go in and throw the ball for 260 against a team that is a real good Florida State team, that we'll take that and build off it.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
Good, Mike. How's everything?
Everything is going good. Look, I got my stuff ready for that game this Thanksgiving, man. And can you kind of talk about the tradition and the importance of this Turkey Day Classic you'll be taking on Prairie View, and what are you going to see as some of the keys to finish off strong this season?
Well, like I said, it's a traditional game that's been played here for over 90-plus years, and we have Prairie View that's coming in. Coach Dooley has a real good football team. They're very explosive offensively. The defensive front is probably one of the better ones in the conference, and we have our work cut out. Prairie View last year put a good whipping on us down at their place, and we got to find a way to try to continue to close the gap in our conference with how we play and taking on this good competition. And we'll have our work cut out for us, and we'll be prepared, and we'll play hard, and we'll let chips fall where they may.
Now, Coach, we always know that the object is to go in with the win, but what are you looking for in particular for your team on this final game of the season?
We've been having an up and down kind of deal where, we play up just like we played up Florida State. I thought the guys played well. Then the next week they'll take off and get satisfied. So we got to find a way to not be satisfied and find a way to continue to put the same output on the field week in and week out. And that's the thing that I'm looking for, that we build off of that Florida State, those things that we did well and correct those things that we did wrong, and put a good showing back out on the field again.
Okay. And, Coach, I want to thank you again for making yourself available to us here on the conference, and continue success with your program, sir.
And thank you guys, for promoting our program as well as SWAC football. I thought the coverage was great all year, and appreciate, all the information that's been going back and forth in dialogue.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you. Miller, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I know we're getting close to the end of the season. I know you got one more game left, and Mike just mentioned about Prairie View. But I wanted to ask you about your team in terms of, are there any players particularly who have the NFL's attention at this point, and who might that be?
Well, right now, a lot of the scouts have been coming by watching Josh Hill. He's the safety that we have. Those guys was looking at him, early on, and the Gully, the defensive tackle that we have, he has gotten some interest. But, for the most part, those have been the top two that everybody's been coming through taking a look at.
And, Coach, I know it's sort of early to look at 2020, but you've gotten that program turned in the right direction. Can you talk about what it's taken to get it in that direction, and what are the prospects for the future immediately?
Well, the thing about it is, we down to my players and some of Coach Jenkins' players that he has had here, and as the guys, they've been working hard for me, and extremely hard, been making plays. The key now is one or two more guys, in the offensive line, one or two more guys up front on the defense, and we have a pretty solid team coming back next year. I think we lose the left guard and left tackle are the only ones we lose from the offense. The defense, we lose the middle backer, a nose guard, and one safety. So, the attrition with being able to return 8 to 9 guys on both sides of the ball, I think, will be actually the turning point for our program as we, prepare to get into the offseason and come back for the following year.
Okay. Well, Coach, again, thank you a lot for your comments this season, and look forward to your game against Prairie View, and look forward to talking to you again about your team in the future.
Hey, Tap, thank you for your coverage, man.
Appreciate it.
Coach Ely, if there are none, again, thank you so much for your time this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Hey, thank you guys, man, and thank you for all that you do for the conference.
This past weekend, the Alcorn State Braves defeated the Alabama A&M Bulldogs at home by a score of 34-28, clinching the East Division for the Braves for the 6th consecutive year and qualifying the Braves for the 2019 SWAC Football Championship slated for Saturday, December 7th at 3 p.m. With that, we're going to be joined by Coach McNair of Alcorn State. We have Coach McNair on the line.
Yes, I'm here.
Morning, Coach McNair. As we've said to our previous coaches, thank you so much for your time on the calls this upcoming or this year. We'll actually have you again on for our teleconference leading into the championship game. But with that, Coach, if you could start us off, as you do every week, with an opening comment about your team's win at home over Alabama A&M.
Well, just a tough fought ball game. Both teams, man. I was impressed. Just watching film on Alabama A&M, the way they played offensively, they were explosive. We knew that coming into this game. I think Coach Mann and his staff got those guys playing with high intensity. And we knew that coming into the ball game that we had to match them. So defensive-wise, we saw some things that they did that was great. And we just had to make sure that we was on our game as far as playing how we just wanted to play, what kind of product we put on the field. But it was an outstanding ball game. Emphasized to my group all week of the importance of starting fast because we know they was explosive. So we come out, open kickoff, we score. They come right back and they master it. We get it, we score. They come right back and they match it. So right before half, we take the ball down and we score. We get 21-14 lead at the half, which was important because they get the ball coming back out in the second half, and we just kind of knew what kind of offense they had to be explosive. And they came right back out the half and tied up 21-21. We go back up and takes the lead, missed the extra point. And they come back, take the lead, 28-27. And, our defense stepped up and at the right time to make some key stops for us and enable us to get the ball back and score. Right before the end of the fourth quarter, they had an opportunity to score there. So it was a tough ball game. You know, my hats off to that group of guys over there, Cornell Main and his staff, with a very classic group in playing this game the way it's supposed to be played. You know, I think that this ball game was a high magnitude ball game. We know what was going into the game was going to be like and what was at stake. So I think both teams strained themselves to put the best product on the field they could. You know, just out there, we was making a play at the end there to go up 34-28. So great ball game, great atmosphere, and it was great.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Mike.
Well, congratulations on your sixth consecutive win. And from people from the outside looking in, they say, oh, well, Alcorn wins it again. But each year is unique. And what makes this year's championship for the East unique compared to last season's?
You know, the biggest thing is every year we lose our starting quarterback, you know, every year. So there's been some kind of Cinderella story for Felix Harper, you know, coming in and playing behind Noah Johnson, which Noah took us to the SWAC championship last year and won it after replacing Footman a couple of years ago. So it's a unique thing, I guess. It's been almost that way, and Felix playing great football. I think that what he's doing, coming in the backup is something special. And what makes it unique of just winning with a backup quarterback is he done it.
Yes, sir. As you mentioned, Coach, that has almost become like your blueprint. And we know that when you go recruiting, everything looks good at one point, but then it comes to life when you get into the actual system. How much do you credit the actual Alcorn system in comparison to the athletes that you've had to be that next man up?
You know, the biggest thing is, now I tell the guys, the coach stuff all the time, you know, I very seldom want to bring another coach in. I always want to promote within, keeping things kind of similar to the same, but change just a little bit, but not having to change so much of terminology and the way we coach the game from a coordinator standpoint. You know, I think it would have been disjustice for these young men to bring in a different coordinator than what we had here on the staff to change the terminology and the total offense of what we were doing and what we've been so good at, you know. I think that was the key for us to, you know, even promoting Elliot Ratton to the offensive coordinator this year was big for us because he knew offensive line play. Actually, he was offensive line coach, grad assistant at Indiana. And just coming in and coaching the tight ends last year, and then now this year, he's the offensive line coach and the coordinator. So, you know, just the biggest thing is kind of keeping things simple for these young men to execute and play fast. You know, it was the biggest thing for me in promoting him to the offensive coordinator.
Now, Coach, when you talk about that continuity, your defensive coordinator, Coach Thornton, he has been a guy that's been with you throughout the trenches. His future is looking bright. Tell us how important and the impact that he's had on your staff.
It's a great impact. You know, after Coach Thomas left, went to Pine Bluff, you know, he was promoted up from a DB coach to a defense coordinator here, and he did a great job for us when he was just D coordinator and doing an excellent job at Pine Bluff as well. So, you know, when we brought Coach Thornton in to be the linebacker coach, I think that's one of the things that, you know, coaches look at when you bring individuals in, the personality and the coaching style they have and the way they relate to these players is big for me. You know, it's about respect and, you know, you give it, you get it. So I think that what we did with Coach Thornton was the same identical thing that we did with Coach Ratton. You know, I saw within him that he's been a defensive coordinator before when he was at Alabama State. So, you know, the perfect job for him to come in and be the coordinator here for this program, and doing a great job at it. So I'm just pleased to have this good group of coaching staff around me. You know, they makes it go. You know, I'm not a micromanaged guy that these coaches coach, and it's more of an administrative job for me. You know, making sure that these guys have everything they need to be successful. You know, as far as football players and the coaching staff.
Now, Coach, as you prepare for Jackson State, you have the Eastern Division sold up. I know the object is to win the game, but do you change possibly some of your starters, or do you rest some guys to get ready for the championship battle, whether you're on the road or at home? What's your approach going into this week's final game?
We got a ball game to win. I told the kids this morning, we got a ball game to win. There's no exception. Everybody going to work. Everybody going to work hard this week. And everybody going to practice. Everybody going to play. So we're going into this game to win the ball game. There's no different approach than the other 10 games we played. So we got to win a game, and that's what we intend to do. We're going to try to win a football game.
Thank you, Coach, again for another great year, and good luck on the rest of your way.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, Coach, good morning. It's Ty Miller calling.
Hey, Ty.
Hey, Coach, of course, Jackson State's been on the upswing the latter part of the season, and I know this game is one of those bragging rights type games, but also in terms of recruiting, what school would give you the toughest battle in the state of Mississippi for potential players?
All of them. We compete with all of them, man. I tell you, it's a circus around here, man, when you talk about recruiting players from the state of Mississippi, even the ones out of state. So, there's always a battle in recruiting. Everybody's trying to get the same kids, It's just how well you can sell your program to the young men that's coming out of high school. Of course, the SEC grabbed most of the top echelon kids, and we left with what's left. So we just got to make sure we go out and sell this program to the young men where it need to be sold, and then just recruit. We compete with all of them. So there's not one school that we just really fight against. I mean, interstate rivalry is always going to be big for the fans. I told my player this morning, we got a ball game to win. We're not going to be on social media talking. We're going to do the thing the right way. We're going to prepare ourselves this week and go up on Saturday and try to win a ball game against a good Jackson State football team.
Is this one of those games where you take potential recruits and invite them to the game to showcase the type of atmosphere and what can happen at a Black College game, particularly at Alcorn State?
Well, unfortunately, we playing a game away, so we don't have the luxury of trying to get kids to come to games up in Jackson. So, it'll be a good venue for Jackson to bring recruits in and let them see the atmosphere. So, hopefully, the recruits they bring are some of the guys that we're trying to recruit, so they get a chance to see it as well. So, just hand in hand, we just have to just stay focused. And I told the coaches, we just got to put a good product on the field and try to win a ball game, and maybe that'll swing some of the recruits, to Alcorn. So that's our intent, and that's what we plan to do.
So you talked about switching quarterbacks or having to switch from Noah Johnson. What kind of changes has that brought about in your team, knowing that the next man up mentality really works and have the players really bought into that?
The biggest thing is these guys that are seniors now, they've been on this thing before. It happened before. Basically, every year we had a senior quarterback, and it happened. So they know the stage, and they know what to expect, and they always going to rally behind the next guy up. So nothing changes. The playbook don't change. It's still open, and the things we do, we still do the same thing. So the biggest thing is the morale of this team has been great. Even with the mission of Noah Johnson, they rally behind Felix, and they having a good time with it, man. They having fun. So that's what they do. Whoever's in the quarterback, that's who they rally behind. So they're out for the challenge all the time. So just getting used to that and doing things that we normally do weekly.
And, Coach, it's become a consistent thing for Alcorn State to make it to the Celebration Bowl. How does that feel, and how used to it? I mean, do you think the fans are getting spoiled by seeing Alcorn State always in that position for a chance to go there?
Well, the biggest thing is, you got one more game before that. So, and that's the SWAC championship. So, you got to win it first. So that's what our main focus on is just trying to get Jackson State game out the way and make sure we're doing everything I possibly to win it against a good football team. I think Coach Henry's got those guys playing with high intensity. The magnitude of the game going to be high, so it's what they expect. So we'll have to just cross that path when we get to it. And, fans going to be spoiled. When you win, they always spoil. So that's just the nature of it. So they get used to it, and I think they kind of have fun with it themselves. So We just got to continue to do what we do as coaches and players to make sure that we're doing it right, make sure that we're winning.
Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck the rest of the way.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Coach, you alluded earlier to the play of Felix Harper and how he has been able to manage the responsibilities coming into, filling in for Noah Johnson. And when you look at the season overall, talk about the challenge that your quarterback's coach and Pat White. Talk about his role and how effective that position has been for your team this season.
Pat is he's an A-class coach, and he played at West Virginia, went to the NFL, and know the quarterback position. And when he came in, and we brought him in as a quarterback coach, and I knew the job he can do, and he a detailed coach, and that's one thing. He don't leave no stones unturned. So he goes into detail with those quarterbacks and make sure they doing everything possibly right. Read the defense and making sure that the concept is there for them and all the right stuff. So Pat does a great job, with these quarterbacks, and I'm grateful to have him on the staff, as quarterback coach, and phenomenal job he's doing. Relate to these young men, not only as a player but as an individual, with mentoring them in life, general stuff. So does a great job as a quarterback.
All right, Coach McNair, thank you again for your time this year, and we look forward to speaking with you on the SWAC Championship Teleconference here in a few days.
All right, thank you. Go Braves.
We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions had a bye week this past week and will be joined by head coach Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line with us?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, Coach, and as always, thank you for your time on the call, not only today but throughout this entire season. Coach, if you could please start us out just with an opening statement about your team's bye week this past week.
Well, the biggest thing is just trying to get some guys a little healthy from some bangs and bruises, long season, and kind of did that. Got back in the weight room and just kind of got some little toning up from a physical standpoint from the weight room. And really just spent all our time on Texas Southern, very explosive football team. And for us, this our championship game. You're talking about a team that hadn't had a winning season since 2012. So we treated it as if it was our bowl game, and that's how we treated it. So we stayed, pretty much practiced all week and got prepared and still getting prepared for a very explosive offense and sound defense. And Coach done a great job with that team. The record don't near about indicate what this football team represents, far as that. And we pulling up, all different type of psychological things from the week. You watch Rice, it was a 0-8, 0-9 team, beat Middle. So we pulling out all those things, just getting the kids to understand that, we got to play, and it's a good football team we're playing against. So this is just in preparation for us and our last game, but it's everything for us this week.
Coach Thomas, Larry Hale, voice of the Texas Southern Tigers, KTSU Radio. Coach, when you talk about this Texas Southern football team, we've had quite a few injuries this season. Coach, what are some of the things that you see when we talked about the offense, the defensive part of this football team, Coach? What do you see from Texas Southern offensively?
Explosive. You look at, the big-time wide out on the edge can, make big-time catches. You watch the film, you got documentation on some of the best defenses in the league. Quarterback sits in the pocket, can make all the reads and make all the throws, got a live arm, offensive line, been kind of steady up front, giving them, time to protect and throw the football. But just a well-organized unit on offense and very dangerous. You see them down at, maybe 0-21 at one time. Before you look up, it's 28-21. So they can score points and do a good job defensively. Like you said, you see the injuries and you see them, early, but then come back and be very sound. And remind me a lot of, my first year, playing well, but just hadn't put it together. So I hope there's one more Saturday if they don't put it together, so we can get what we want. But a very, very good football team, and the record, don't indicate how really good this football team is.
Coach, talk about your leading rusher, Taylor Porter. How special is he in this football team?
He's everything to us. He's the face of our program. A kid that just showed up, sight unseen, that entrusted us as coaches, but tough, hard-nosed. He's indicative of what we're trying to establish as we continue to build our culture, set out a game due to injuries, but, come to work every day, great cross-campus. And like I said, he's just the face of the program. We really going to miss him. We want to send him out with a bang this year.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, Coach, this is Luke Williams from the Black College Sports Page. How are you today?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Doing fine. Coach, Coach McNabb mentioned about your time at Alcorn. They've now run 6 straight East Division championships. What about their culture? You talk about building your culture. What about their culture has contributed to building those championships? And what about that culture would you like to get installed at Pine Bluff?
We're on the process of doing it, and it's just, what Coach does, he does a great job of taking care of his own. He's not quick to go get outsiders like he mentioned. He's not a micromanager, but he lets you work. He let young guys use ideas and thought processes on their own and mesh well. But, he backs you 100%. But he just gives those kids the mindset of, academics first, but also the love of the institution. And he's at his institution that gave him an opportunity to play and feed his family, through the educational part, but also play sports. And here I am in the exact situation. I'm trying to establish that. And also great players, got a great eye for recruiting, understands player personnel, let his coaches get out, and he go above and beyond and make sure that his coaches, like you said, get everything to be successful. So that's what we're trying to do. And, there's no doubt in my mind we will do it. I got the format, got the foundation of it. Just going to take a little time, but I don't think we fall off.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
Coach talked about changing the culture and building the foundation with these seniors that are outgoing. What have you instilled in them from your experience of trying to leave this foundation solid with the winning year going into 2020?
The biggest thing is just knowing that they can always come back and taking these same characteristics that's associated with football and apply it to life. Because they finna play the game of life as soon as this thing over with. First as a coaching staff and as a person of leadership, I got to make sure that I've given them tools to get out in society and be productive citizens and be successful. And for them to lay a foundation that when they come back, it's that championship run, like the last reporter asked about what Coach Mack is doing on the reservation, man, which is a blessing. So we want to be able to establish both of those on both ends. So, this senior class is going to be huge for us because this will be the first time, like I said, that they've had a winning season since they've been here. So we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we can send those guys out with not only the first but the only winning season that they've been associated with. And that was one of the goals, not only when I took the job, but when, I met with them coming into their senior year, and they followed the script so far. Had some heartbreakers early in the year, but it's always, learning experiences that come from it. But our mission now is just to send these guys out with a winning season.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. When you look back on this season, and obviously you've got one more game against Texas Southern, but once you go into the offseason, what are the 1 or 2 things that you'll need to focus on with respect to this team to improve for next season?
We just got to continue to build on the mindset. I think we get caught up or got caught up a couple of times on the logos and on helmets as opposed to the personnel. I don't think it was a game this season that when it was over, we sat there and said, we physically got dominated, and that's all the way from TCU on down. But we just got to get over that, continue to get over that psychological hump of, kids that we are good enough and personnel-wise is that. But, we always can, get a couple more players here and there. But it's injuries all the way across the board, with everybody in the league. We just got to continue to get depth and make sure that our 1s, 2s, and 3s are playing at a high level. So when those injuries do come, you got a good product that's coming in after and not big of a drop-off. So coaches got to get on the road and recruit. But, we don't have much with 8 seniors leaving the room. So we just got to make sure we put the right pieces in place. But, our deal is more so the psychological part of it, of knowing that, hey, we're going to win, we're good enough to win, and make sure that happens.
And Coach, with respect to the 8 seniors that are leaving, how many scholarships overall is your team or is your program working with?
We fully funded now, so ain't no excuses on that part. And shout out to the institution for allowing that to happen. And that's why you can see the positive change in not just the winning part, but academics and everything else. It's a fair playing field, an equal playing field now. So when Coach Mack talk about having to fight for those recruits, we can talk about being fully funded and financial aid, things of that sort. So we're fully funded and got a lot of things that we can sell at the institution. So we're excited about that part.
And one last question: when you say you're fully funded, was that effective this year, or was that the case last year, or did that just begin this year?
The year before I got here, we just got that full amount. I think it might have been 17. So I came in right on having the full allotment. My deal was, we had about 23 seniors when I got here, so a lot of money, a lot of scholarship was tied up. And so we're kind of, with those 21, 22 leaving last year, this will basically be a whole calendar year where we get opportunity to, get out with the full allotment of scholarship to be able to sign kids. We just, with only 8 seniors leaving, we still got a lot in-house that, we're able to, that's already on scholarship.
Get it, Coach. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks.
Coach Thomas, we really appreciate your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
I appreciate it.
The Grambling State Tigers defeated Mississippi Valley State by a score of 40-0, setting up a big matchup in the Bayou Classic, winner-take-all for the Western Division. With that, we'll be joined by head coach Roderick Fobbs. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you so much for your time this whole season. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's win last weekend over Mississippi Valley State.
Well, I'll tell you, good weather, good day to play football, very, very tough environment, to play in, which is, kind of works in their favor. When you're dealing with, 18, 22-year men, you're always, concerned about them playing the way they're supposed to and just focusing on themselves. And I thought our kids, did a really good job of jumping all of the hurdles that we face, first with, with the environment, but then secondly, with not having our quarterback for the first half. But, kind of overcame all of that and was able to play really good defense and score some points.
Yeah, Coach, this is Jim Kleinpeter from The Advocate. You guys are probably the hottest team in the SWAC. Just wanted to find out and get you to talk a little bit about the streak y'all are on and what kind of came together for you and what your challenges were early in the season.
Well, I mean, it was we had a tough opening to our season. The month of September was very brutal for us. You open with 2 D1 programs and you lose 11 guys that, if not starters, are heavy contributors to your ball club, and kind of push you on your heels after the first 2 weeks. So we ended up playing some guys who hadn't had very many snaps, but our kids kind of grew up, and it kind of helped us create some depth for ourselves. And take my hat off to our staff and coaches and players because they stayed together and stayed confident and continue to fight and do things the right way regardless of the situation. And we kind of tightened up some bolts and some screws and looked at what we weren't doing well and what we were doing well and try to do more of what we were doing well. And we had some luck in there which helped us as well. Plays that went our way that don't always go your way.
And we're sitting here with an opportunity.
Well, can you talk a little bit about your defense? A shutout last week, and you held Alcorn to 16 points the week before. Y'all must be on a roll defensively.
Well, I think, we're playing pretty good defense. Our kids are playing hard. They're also playing extremely smart. There are a couple plays here or there that we have to get cleaned up. Mistakes when it comes to hurting ourselves, whether it's, a late hit or whatever the case may be. But the kids are playing hard, and we're teaching our kids to play into the echo of the whistle, and sometimes, that can go overboard from time to time. So it's never a perfect science, but you're trying to get them to play clean and play fast. We're playing really good defense. And anytime you're playing good defense and you're protecting the football, it gives you a chance.
Okay, well, could you talk a little bit about the Bayou Classic? It seems like it always comes down to Southern and Grambling, and this looks like another classic Bayou Classic.
Well, Coach Dawson Odoms is a really good football coach, a friend of mine that does a really good job, getting his players ready to play, and has been extremely consistent, over the time period he's been the head football coach there. And, his fingerprint is all over that team when you look at how disciplined they are and how well they play and how physical they are and how they're able to run the football effectively, but then also play really good defense when it comes to stopping the run and then, stuffing you out, stuffing your passing game out. But then they're also really good in the special team game as well. So we know that they'll be ready to play. At this particular time, our focus is on us and making sure that we're healthy and ready to go. So we want to take a day or so to try to get ourselves going so we can have really good practices and be ready to go.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you. It's Ty Miller. How you doing?
How are you doing?
Coach, does it seem like it's been 2 seasons for your football team, being that you started 0-4, although you played up in competition the first couple of games, and then you got your traction going? Does it seem like it's been 2 different seasons for you in that respect?
No, I don't necessarily think it's been 2 seasons. I think, the start has kind of helped us, build the foundation for what's happened here, lately. So I don't think it was 2 seasons. I think it's the first 4 was just a foundation for what we're experiencing right now at this particular time. So no, I don't believe it's been 2 seasons. But when you look at, I guess, the wins and losses, it seems that way. But it's not for us.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, you spoke earlier about, the first couple of games, you playing up and out of the conference, and you had some key injuries. I think you said 11 to be exact. And it goes back to the old adage, should you or should you not play? Do you believe the reward is worth the risk as far as the health of your team, as well as the financial windfall that comes forward to play those certain games?
Well, I think there's certain ball games, that, in my opinion, are out of our league, so to speak, that can kind of put your kids in a disadvantaged situation. I'm the type of person that has certain things that should be available for everyone, which is, health care and supplements, food, and all that kind of stuff. Those kind of things, in my opinion, regardless of financial situation you're in, all programs should have that, and that should be something that's available to all of us. But there are certain, advantages that, the programs have that, we don't necessarily have. But there are also advantages for us, as coaches and players, because when you're in those situations, it forces you to really find ways and be creative in finding opportunities and ways to do certain things. So in my opinion, I think it makes you an even better coach when you don't have certain things, because it gives you and puts you in a situation to exhaust every opportunity possible and create new ways to get the same thing accomplished.
Now, Coach, I know that you have been on record for saying that the coaches in your circle in the Southwestern Athletic Conference have to work with less to get more. And I recall you and I discussing last year that probably one of your better coaching years. But now I ask you that question again this year. This year seemed to be one of your better coaching years since you've been a head football coach.
I mean, I think it's our staff. Our staff has done an exceptional job. They understand our kids. It took a little while offensively, to kind of recognize what our kids did well and what they didn't do well. But I think we've gotten that worked out. But I just think, when our kids and our coaches are extremely close, and we play from a certain area, and we just believe wholeheartedly in being close, and it makes you a better football team when you're playing from that area. Not only the players, also the coaches. We're close, and when you're close, there's a lot of things you can get accomplished.
All right, Coach, thank you very much, and good luck on the rest of your season, sir.
Coach, it's Ty Miller again. I know looking ahead to the Bayou Classic, I just want you to talk about how excited are your players knowing on an annual basis that they're going to be showcased as they have been for several years on national TV during a holiday weekend?
Well, it's a recruiting pitch. It's why you come to Grambling State University. Not too many places you're going to play in front of, 68,000 people to 70,000 people, in a major city in the state of Louisiana, where football is so prevalent. But then also on national television where, the whole world is watching and can watch. So it's a great opportunity. Our players are extremely excited about it. It's why they're here, and they look forward to the competition. Every time, every year, this game brings the best out of us and out of both teams. And I don't know anyone that's a competitor that wouldn't want that. And we're looking forward to it. It's definitely a challenge. They're running the football extremely well. They have a really good quarterback that's physical and can run and can throw, and have another one that can throw as well and run also. And then they have a physical, nasty defense. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
Coach, did it surprise you that Southern, after they got off to a somewhat slow start too, got their traction going and also put together games that put them back in a position to win the West?
No, it's not a surprise. When you know the staff and you know a lot of the guys over there, and then you know what their program is going to be built on. So it's not a surprise. Adversity, it reveals character, and it also builds it at the same time. And that's just something that I know their program is built on as well as ours. And when you look at the teams that are in position to win championships, it's probably because they've been through years and years of adversity, as is other programs that are on their way up in our league. They're going through adverse situations now that are the building blocks to be the type of program that they want to be. But it has to be looked at in a positive way, as far as the glass being half full as opposed to being half empty. And I think when you look at it in a positive manner, you learn from it, then it gives you the opportunity and it gives you an advantage to build on.
HBCU sports. One quick question for you. Obviously, you've had stints during the season where you've had buys and so forth. But if you would, does your routine going into the Bayou Classic change any, given that there's a holiday and so forth? Can you possibly detail what exactly the plan is in terms of preparation for that game with the bye week and the holiday being what it is?
Well, normally, when you've been, a head coach for a little bit of time, you kind of done it, several different ways. And we have a way that we feel works for us. This year is a little unique in the fact that this is our third open week, as opposed to in previous years where we've always had just two. So we always like to take the first couple of days to try to heal and get our bodies, where they need to be. So that's our players' focus. And then we'll take some time to focus on academics to try to make sure that our student athletes are doing things that they need to do in order to be here, for another year. But then once we get towards the middle of the week, then we'll start to prepare and start to put our pieces together a little bit at a time, and go all the way into the weekend, with the same approach. And then, the following week, it's a normal week for us. And we prepare the same way and try to get everything done on our end here before we get down there, because when you get down there, there's so much going on. It's just a matter of being focused once you get there. But the majority of the plan needs to be in place before you even get there.
Coach Fives, like we said earlier, we really appreciate your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you.
Past week, the Jackson State Tigers dropped a 40-34 decision to the Southern Jaguars there at home. We'll be joined by head coach Hendrick with Jackson State. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach, and we do appreciate your patience as we're a little bit over schedule here today, but we appreciate your time on the call, not only today, but this entire year. With that, Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus the Southern Jaguars.
Well, it was a hard-fought game against a really good football team. I think our kids played really hard. We've made some mistakes that you can't afford to make against a good football team and win the football game. And by virtue of us making those mistakes, they made the plays that they had to make to beat us, and we ended up losing the football game.
Hey, Coach Hendricks, good morning. How you doing? This is Charles Edmond from WPRL.
I'm well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Coach, how close do you feel like your team is right now? A tough loss to Alabama A&M last week in the final seconds. And then you had the lead going into the second half against Southern University. You've had some close games. You've had some adversity at quarterback. How do you feel about your program right now, coming off the heels of you being named interim coach late last season and this being your first full season as head coach?
Well, I think we've made progress as a football team, not as much progress as I desired for us to make. I still think that we have some cultural things that we have to get ingrained in this program in order for us to be good. In terms of winning games and winning close games, we have some work that we have to do. We still have some strength work that we have to get done. There's still some pieces in our program that we have to add in order for us to be as effective as we can be as a football program. And then obviously the biggest thing, as I said earlier, is the cultural piece. We've got to make sure that we become a team-oriented football team in everything that we do. We're in a time now where, kids are a little bit different than they were in the past, and you've got to build the team orientation, and then we've got to get a little bit better at that.
Coach, you being a defensive-minded coach, obviously working on the defensive side before you're named head coach, what were some of the issues, especially on the defensive side, that you've had to deal with this season?
Well, the biggest thing that we've had to deal with is trying to fit new guys in. Obviously, we've had some injuries that really have affected us on defense, but the biggest issue was trying to get guys who hadn't played the defense, that didn't understand the defense, to understand the defense. As they've grown in the defense, we've gotten better on defense as the years progressed.
And then on the offensive side, you've kind of had musical chairs at quarterback. You feel comfortable with Jones being the guy? Because he's kind of been talked about throughout the course of the season. I know he's had chances throughout the course of the year. Is he your quarterback right now?
Yeah, he's grown up. People, Jalen is a dynamic guy that God has gifted with great ability. He can make every throw on the football field. He may be the fastest guy on our team. And he's a 6'3", 200-some-pound guy, but he's still 18 years old. And it took a while for him to become acclimated to college, acclimated to college practices, acclimated to the college game. And once he became acclimated, and I saw that he was ready to play, we've named him the guy to be the quarterback.
Coach, when you look at this game this week, obviously, I mean, you had a chance to keep yourselves in the Eastern Division conversation for the division. Didn't win in the Southern game. So give us your thoughts on this Alcorn-Jackson State rivalry as you see it, and talk about the Braves a little bit.
Well, Coach has done a great job down there, Coach McNair. He's got a team that really believes that they're good, and they play with a lot of intensity. They play with emotion. They seem to play really well together. And he has some good players. And, it's a rivalry game. So the one thing that you can say about rivalry games is I've told my players, I've been a part of some great rivalries. I've coached in the Texas A&M game. I've coached in the Mississippi State game, the LSU Ole Miss game, LSU Alabama. I've coached in Pitt, Penn State, I played Pitt, Penn State, Pitt, West Virginia, and also coached in that game. So I've been in some rivalries, and this rivalry is as good as any of them. It's just not as nationally publicized as some of those other rivalries are. And I'm expecting any time that you get into a rivalry game that you throw records out the window, you throw what's come before out the window, because the kids are going to get up on both sides and play a heck of a football game.
Are you a believer that anytime you're dealing with these rivalries, especially in-state, that it does impact recruiting? It's kind of been talked about here on the call with some of the other coaches. Are you a believer in that as well?
Well, yeah, it can impact recruiting. But, to me in recruiting, you're going to get who you're going to get. There's going to be kids who, regardless of what happens, are going to like you, and they're going to decide they want to come to you. Regardless of what happened in the game, if we were fortunate enough to beat Alcorn, that are going to go to Alcorn and weren't going to come here. So you're going to get who you're going to get. And but one or two, maybe it may affect them. Yeah, there may be a kid or two that it affects. But when you're recruiting, you're going to. It's not an exact science, and who you're going to get in the recruiting process.
As a defensive coach, what do you see in Felix Harper? Obviously, Noah Johnson started the season, went down to McNeek's game, and it's been Felix Harper's team ever since. What do you see in Felix Harper, and what problems can he pose for you?
Well, he's a kid that has the athletic ability to run the ball. He's not as the dynamic runner as Noah was, but he's a much better thrower. He presents problems in the passing game because he's pretty efficient in throwing the football and making the throws. So he presents a two-edged sword for you because he's athletic enough to get out and run on you, but he can also beat you with his arm.
Hey, Coach, we talked to Coach McNair earlier about this game this weekend. Of course, he's made it back to the SWAC championship game, and he's not looking at this game as a tune-up game. But for you, it's your season ender. So for you and your team, would this be considered your championship game to end the 2019 season?
It's a rivalry game, so we want to win it. And so we're going to approach it as us and go forward and play as hard as we can and try to win the football game.
What sticks out to you about the game last season when you had a couple of games, you had one in a row, and then it came to the Alcorn State game at the end?
Well, we were in position last year to win the East if we won the game, and it didn't come out that way for us. I thought that it was a really good football game. They came out in the second half and tempoed us and got us back on our heels and made a couple plays and ended up winning the game last year.
Coach, on the paper, you made significant progress in just the year and a half that you've taken over, or the year and 2 months you've taken over as head coach. What is the next step for your team to take the step that you want to get to get this program in the direction you want it to be in?
Well, we've got to add some pieces, obviously, in a couple of positions. We've got to come together more as a football team. The culture has got to be set. It's not quite where I would like for it to be in terms of the team piece. And if we'll do those things and add the pieces that we need, I think we have a really good chance to be a really good football team next year. I think we've got good, skilled people on both sides of the ball. We've got a young football team. We need to grow up and mature. Hopefully we'll get the maturity that we need because we played quite a few freshmen this year. And hopefully this year of having an opportunity to play will help them to grow a little bit better as football players. And next year they'll come back a little bit better as sophomores. we need another great year in the weight room. I think we have some deficits that we need to try to make up physically. And I think if we get those things done, we'll have an opportunity to be really competitive next year.
And, Coach, you mentioned building team culture and chemistry. How difficult is that in with today's youth, being that there is social media, there's detachment, kids are individuals more so than sometimes teammates. How difficult is that in today's environment?
It's a little bit more difficult than it was back 30-some-odd years when I was coaching, because kids were a little bit different. Their indoctrination was a little bit different back then. But, you've got to be more patient. Kids are a little wiser now in terms of they want to know why more than kids did. Kids back in the early days were a little bit more trusting of systems and things. And so you've got to cut and peel through all those layers in order to get to the kids. But I thank God that he's given me patience that I thought I never had, because, I'm a lot more patient than I was a few years ago. So we're still dealing, and like I said, peeling through the layers and hopefully getting to the place where our kids understand what our philosophy is going to be, and that they adhere to that philosophy and decide that that's going to be the part of their life that they're going to pursue to make us a good football team.
Last question, Coach. It does sound like you have gone through sort of a metamorphosis similar to what Michael Strahan spoke about years ago before their championship year with the Giants, where Coach Tom Coughlin used to crack a whip on players. Michael Strahan said he got him to soften up. So is that somewhat what you're speaking of now?
I don't know if I'm softer, because I still have a hard edge when it comes to discipline. I'm a little bit more understanding than I would say than softened, because if you don't do right, I'm going to do something about it. If you put a choice in my hand about what I need to do with your life, then I'm going to make the choice that I feel is best for this football program and football team. But in terms of being a little bit more sensitive, I am a little bit more sensitive to the kids, yes.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
Coach Hendrick, as always, thank you so much for your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
No doubt. I appreciate you, and thank you much.
This past week, Mississippi Valley State dropped a 40-0 decision to the Grambling State Tigers at home, and with that, we'll now be joined by Mississippi Valley State head coach Vincent Dancy. Do we have Coach Dancy on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. And like we've been saying, all of our coaches, thank you so much for your time on the call this year, as this will be our last call of the year. But with that, Coach, if you could please start us out as you have in weeks past by giving us an opening statement about your team's last outing versus Grambling State.
Just wasn't a great performance by us overall. We played a great team, great, well-coached team. And I think we caught them when they was hot, man. Very, very good team. We just couldn't establish nothing. They came in and just got and they got the job done, man. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't muster up anything offensively, defensively. They played a great game defensively, and we just couldn't get anything done.
Good morning, Coach Dancy. This is Mike Prince from the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, I've been hearing this buzzword for quite some time now. I mean, it's that word culture. We just heard Coach Hendricks talk about culture. What is it that needs to be changed when we speak of culture, if you could go into detail, as far as getting things turned around, not only for your program, but any program connected and wanting growth and going in another direction?
I think it's the word that you said. Overall, it's a turnaround, and it's not going to be easy. And I understood the situation. It was an uphill battle once I took over the program. But at the end of the day, I see change, and sometimes change may not reflect in wins and losses, but overall the way you play the game. So at the end of the day, we just got to go out and get better, recruit better, and coach better. That's the thing. But it's a turnaround and it's a process, and I understood that, and we gonna take the good with the bad, and we gonna keep pushing.
Now, when you speak about coaching better than recruiting better, that leads back to funding. And I think you had 36, 38 scholarships. Is that changing to help you create and produce a more competitive product on the field?
You asking me, did that change?
Is that changing? Is that, future plans to change that? I know coming into the season you have, I believe, 36, 38 scholarships. Are there talks of getting you up to the 63 scholarships to help further your progression?
Well, right now, Mike, just right now, man, we're just working with what we have. At this point in time, we don't want to discuss that at this point in time, but right now, just working with what I had. Like I said, I understood the situation when I took over the program, and all I could do is just push and work hard to get out on this road and try to recruit and bring more talent in, and whatever we have to do and whatever the hand I'm dealt, I just have to, play the cards right and be able to adjust with what I have.
Okay, and with that being said, let's talk about your final game of the season coming up, and some of the things that that are strengths that you're bringing, and some things you're going to have to continue to work through.
Tough team. I think Coach Maynard done a great job in his 2 years there, man. You talk about, they have two of the top players in the conference on offense, and I think the receivers are second and third right behind each other. So, well-coached team, plays hard every game they're out. Just haven't had the luck to go their way, but, man, they're a real great team, and we know we got our hands full going to Huntsville.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much, sir, for your endearment and continued success on building your program.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike, for everything.
Coach, a few quick questions for me. When you look at Alabama A&M, you talked a little bit about their toughness, and obviously one of the big components of that is their ground attack with Jordan Bentley. And last weekend, against a very formidable Alcorn State defense, he put up, I believe, 29 carries, 245 yards, and 4 touchdowns. When you look at a player like that on film, what stands out to you, and what do you see that's going to be critical for your team to be able to halt his progress?
The first thing you notice, man, is up front. They're big up front, man. They have a good core offensive lineman. Those guys do a great job of opening up, holes for Bentley. And, man, he's just a dynamic runner. He has experience. He's been in this conference 4 years now. He has experience. He knows each team. He knows what each team brings. And very, very patient runner and just know how to run the ball. And we got to be a gap-sound defense, which we are, and we got to tackle well in order to keep him in control this weekend.
Coach, last question for me. You touched on the run game. Obviously, there are no slouches throwing the ball with Glass back there, and you already alluded to the 2 receivers. So from that aspect of their offense, what do you see in that category, and what do you want to do to try to limit the production?
Very explosive. I think Aquil is probably one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in this league, and just explosive, dynamic, smart young man. Had a chance to watch him in high school. One of our coaches, sons played on his high school team, and we knew then that wherever this kid, wherever he went, he was going to be a great quarterback. And he goes to A&M, and as you can see, he's a top quarterback in this league. But just gotta we got to be able to, man. It's hard when you're good on both levels, when you can run the ball, which opens up your passing game even more, which stops you from bringing in, more than 8 in the box. So we got our hands full with those guys, with the talented core receivers they have on the outside. So we know we have our hands full. We just got to play a complete game defensively and play hard and compete our tails off if we want a chance at winning this game.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for everything.
Last week, the Prairie Indian Panthers defeated Edward Waters by a score 41-14. We'll now be joined by head coach Eric Dooley with the Panthers. Do we have Coach Dooley on the line?
Yes, good morning. I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you so much for your time on the call today and throughout this season, as this will wrap up our last coaches teleconference for the year. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing, your victory there over Edward Waters.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to come out and you know, our thing was we just wanted to play a clean football game. You know, it wasn't a matter that we wasn't playing someone in our conference or who we were playing. We just wanted to play a clean football game and just see just how good we really could be. And I thought the guys, you know, it came out, you know, you always you face that every now and then because you think of opponent, who you're playing, it's going to be any different. But I knew the coach and I knew those guys was going to be well prepared and be ready to play. But you know, our team fought through some little things and understood what we needed to do, and I thought they got on track. And I saw a lot of the things I needed to see, you know, especially when you talk about the penalties, because we've kind of like been tagged with those the whole year. It was probably the first time that we had penalties, like maybe just 4 penalties, and that was a great correction right there for us. So we just continue to fight and get better as a unit, as a team, and I thought they did that for 60 minutes.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Good morning. I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing real good. What's the status? Is Morton good and ready to go for this final game of the season?
Yeah, he is. He is, and you know, I'm a private person, so I'm never going to let what's going on with the individual. And he could have played Saturday, but we you know, I look at the kid's best interest. You know, the team will take care of itself. I want to make sure that my student athletes is in the best of health that it could be in, and it's not going to be anything that's going to, you know, happen him the remainder of his life. So he's good to go, and that's a good thing. So we just be ready to roll in 2 weeks.
Okay. Now, it's like you got an extended bye almost to get prepared for Alabama State. Playing on Thanksgiving Day, it's a rich tradition for Alabama State. What's your travel approach and game approach as you get ready for this final game of the season?
Well, you know, it appears to be extended, but it's really not because of that the game is so early. So you got to kind of like pretty much start everything now because next week is going to be short. But we'll get an opportunity to travel on Wednesday and get there and get prepared to play a good Alabama State football team on Thursday.
Okay, and you talked about this being one of your better penalty games going into this Alabama State. Do you think the message has finally gone through and it turned the corner and it should be, as they say, smooth sailing with this last game?
Well, in this conference, it's never smooth sailing. You know, it's a compliment to the coaches that's around. You know, I think everyone is doing a great job. Everybody's, you know, just fighting. There's no question about it. But I do like where my team is at and the things that they were able to correct because that's what you look for. See if you're going to get better each week, each day, and that's what we kind of build ourselves on. And they did that even from the previous game. They were able to get better for us, that part right there. So it's some things that we're trying to get fixed, and I think that I know that the guys are heading in the right direction, so I do feel real good about what we were able to accomplish last week, and now moving forward, I expect the same thing.
Now, Coach, I know you have this final game, and I asked a couple of coaches earlier, recruiting, and I recall you saying you're always recruiting. In order for Prairie View to go to the next level, what would you need to plug the gaps for that to be the fruition or come to fruition in 2020?
Well, you know, I like what you list a lot of seniors. I list a lot of seniors leaving out, and if you can read between the lines, but I be honest with you, I like the team that's coming back. I have a pretty fairly young team. I got the bulk of the team is coming back. The bulk of the guys that are playing a lot, they're coming back. But if I just had to pinpoint one thing, there's no doubt in my mind because I'm gonna lose 3. I got to get some defensive linemen. I got to get some guys in here, and you know that's that old cliche that's never going to go away. I got to get some linemen in here that's going to stop the run. No question about that. And we understand that. We want some guys that's going to be fast, physical, and understand the process that we're trying to accomplish. So I'll say more than anything, I'm going to get some linemen on both sides of the ball, offense and defensive linemen.
Okay, and as far as your matchup with Alabama State, what are you seeing as some of the keys towards your victory?
Wow, I see a good football team. I see a well-coached football team. I see a team that's going to play for 60 minutes, all the things that we pride ourselves on. So we know it's going to be a challenge, but, we accept that challenge. I think it's a good opportunity for us as well as them, too, because, where we're sitting at right now, 500 with the opportunity to have a winning season. And I think that's a plus, and that's a direction that we want to head in. But we got to prepare. There's no question about that. They're a good football team. They're doing a lot of great things. They got some big guys on both sides of the ball, great skill guys, and I know the coach well, so I know they're going to be well prepared.
Yes, sir. Now, Coach, you just made mention you're trying to play this final game as the Super Bowl, if you allow me to put it that way, where you can end up with a winning season. If you could you summarize your second season here with PV?
Yeah, I could. I thought, in every game that we played in, I thought we played for 60 minutes. I thought we showed that attitude that, regardless of what the situation is or where we are at that point in time, that they're not gonna quit. They're gonna fight, and that's what I wanted to see. If I had a team that, regardless of the adversity or the circumstances, what are you going to lay on the line? How you want to finish? How do you want to create your own legacy? And I see that this team here is building. I love the direction that we're going in. Of course, I'm a guy that, I understand certain things. I want to come in right now and get to the top of the hill. I want to be playing in the SWAC championship. I want to be playing in the Celebration Bowl. But, it takes work for that. It takes a lot of work for that. But the young men that I've been able to bring in and the guys that were here, I think, is coming together, and they understand what my mission and what my goal is, as well as my philosophy. And I like what we have right now. I just think we just got to continue to grow as a team and understand what's ahead of us, and that we're in a great conference, and we're going to have to play some exciting and some football for 60 minutes, regardless of who we play. So we want to, not where we want to be at, but we're in a good place, and we're going to continue to move forward.
Thank you very much, Coach, and good luck. Safe travels for Thanksgiving game.
Thank you.
Coach, if there are none, again, thank you so much for your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you.
This past weekend, the Southern Jaguars got a big win there at Jackson State, beating the Tigers by a score of 40-34 and setting up a Big Bayou Classic matchup with the Gravelly State Tigers that will settle the Western Division in the spring. With that, we'll now be joined by head coach Dawson Odoms. Do we have Coach Odoms on the line?
Yes, it's Coach Odoms.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you so much for your time on the call this morning and also throughout this entire season. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent win at Jackson State.
On football game, I thought both teams were very competitive. It's a huge rivalry game for both institutions. I thought offensively, in the beginning, we moved the ball. We was able to put some points on the board in the first half. Defensively, they hit us on about 4 plays. They creased us in the running game, which is not to our liking. Rushed over almost 300 yards, which is something we haven't done all year. Just poor fits. But I really thought that special teams was solid for us. I thought our quarterback play was really good. He missed a couple plays that probably could have created some separation in the ball game. But those are the things that you got to overcome when you're playing a football game. Slow, sluggish first half defensively, but they picked it up. I thought the second half, we played our kind of football. I thought in the second half we stopped the run. They creased us one time. We was able to hold them to 3 points. I think they scored 24 points in the first half and 10 points in the second half. And we were down 17-14 right there going into the down 24-17 going into the half. And I really thought our guys came out in the second half and played to our expectation. Hard-fought 60-minute football game. Our players stepped up and played, very well in the second half. I thought that third and fourth quarter up until the last drive of the game, we pretty much controlled the football game offensively and defensively. And we had a huge return there on special teams. So overall team effort and a great team win.
Hey, Coach, it's Jim Klein, Peter. Would you talk a little bit about what your plans are for this week and how y'all going to approach the Bayou Classic? What you're going to do this week, when you're practicing and when you're giving them off?
We practice at the same time. We'll get ready for, our next opponent, and we'll practice this week. We'll give some guys a chance that's banged up to heal. But for the most part, it's the same practice schedule. We'll be back at it. Our guys come in on Mondays. They were off yesterday. They'll come in today. We get our corrections and get some film study done and get some stretching in and start introducing our next opponent. And then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And depending on how they practice, we'll determine the rest of our week. But there ain't no time for time off. It's time for our guys to recover their bodies, treatment, recovery. And we know the next task. We're on to it. We know it's going to be a difficult challenge, playing against a very good football team. Coach Favre's done a great job. And this is how it's been. Year in, year out. This is usually how it is on the West. Come down to Southern and our opponent. And we're getting ready for them, and I'm quite sure they're getting ready for us.
Okay, Coach, Brandon Hinton got you a big touchdown, kind of a momentum changer. Would you talk a little bit about him and how he's come along this season, a couple of kick returns now in the last 2 weeks? Where has he come from?
Well, he's been here all year, been playing some receiver for us. He's been our punt returner. He's been back there on kickoff return. We rotate guys back there. But he's one of those players that's steady. He's a steady performer. Heady football player, excellent in the weight room, has great balance, great speed, and he just makes plays when he gets the ball in his hands. He's had some key catches on third down. He's just one of those football players you like to have in your program, and we're just glad he's been out.
Okay, just anything specific about Grambling that I'm sure you've looked at some film of them.
We're watching them, as we speak, just breaking down film and just really getting a gauge on personnel and what they like to do and how they like to do it. We're familiar with them. They're familiar with us. It's no secrets. It's two really good competitive football teams that's going to go head-to-head at the Bayou Classic, and it's been like that since Coach Foss took over. And up at Grambling, it's been that way since I've been here at Southern. So we're going to play a competitive football game. Both teams are highly respected. But I think it's going to be one of those games where you got to take care of you. It's less about the opponent. You got to make sure you're doing the right things, and if we're doing that, then I think we have a chance to be successful.
Well, they lost the first 4. They won their last 6. Can you talk a little bit about what you see in them that they're doing better?
Well, they're playing better on offense, defense, and special teams. That's the only way, you can really get better. The football team has gotten better, and you can see that on film. They got some guys that can make some plays, and they're making plays. And I think at the end of the day, you gotta do the same thing. This game won't come down to a lack of emotions and a lack of intensity. It's going to be about who executes and who executes well for the majority part of that football game. They got scholarship players. They're going to have some guys make some plays. I like our football team, though. We've been in some battles. And I think our guys have found a way to win. And we've yet to play complete football. And it's coming. A few plays here and there on Saturday, and I thought we could have been a dominant football team. But we're gaining on it. And we got a bye week to get some guys healthy. And I think this could be a Bayou Classic that, you don't want to miss. It's a lot on the line, and a lot of people will be willing to watch this one.
Coach Odom, Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. Sir, I have to ask, there's a rumor floating that at the conclusion of the game against Jackson State, your players didn't necessarily have the luxury to have the showers working in the locker room. Can you confirm whether or not that was true?
Oh, that's true. I mean, that's not a rumor. The water was. We asked them to cut the water on. The water was very cold and didn't come out at a high speed. But I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, we can't do anything about the showers, but ask them to cut the water on for us.
with the history of this rivalry and the intensity being what it is, do you think that was just intentional or just a unfortunate mishap?
No, I don't know. Best thing I can do is, like I tell our team, we deal with adversity. We dealing with situations as they come. Okay, no water. All right, let's get dressed. Let's get on the bus. And I apologize to our team and coaches for not being able to shout out to the game. But at the end of the day, you can't control that. We always focus on the things that we can control. If they wanted to cut the water off and they want us to have any water, then that's on them. We'll pray for them and keep it moving. But other than that, it's no big deal. Move on to the next task.
Coach Odoms, thank you so much for your time on the call this year, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Coach X.
We now go to our last call of the day. That'll be Texas Southern. This past week, the Tigers had a bye week, and we will now be joined by head coach Clarence McKinney. Do we have Coach McKinney on the line?
Coach McKinney's on the line.
Hey, good morning, Coach. And as we said to our coaches that were on the call before you, thank you so much for your time on the call this season, as this will be our final teleconference of the year. So with that, Coach, if you could please start us out as you have in weeks past by giving just an update of your team's bye week this past week.
Yeah, got an opportunity to give some guys some well-deserved and well-needed rest. We spent a lot of time this week on the fundamentals of the game. Just blocking, tackling, protecting the ball, creating turnovers, just teaching the basic, elements of the game. With that being said, we had quite a few guys out. We were able to get a couple guys healed up that we look forward to participating this weekend versus Arkansas Pine Bluff, which we expect a dogfight. We're playing a really good team. Our guys are up for the challenge, and we're looking forward to possibly ending the season the right way.
Coach McKinney, Larry Chatterbox Hill, the radio voice. Coach, when you talk about it, I know you had big expectations for the Texas Southern Tigers this season in your first year. What are some of the things that you've learned about this football team as they face adversity the last 10 ball games?
These guys have shown a tremendous amount of heart. No matter what the adversity that we face, they've taken the challenge head on, and in each game, no matter what the score has been, our guys have not quit. They've competed to the very last whistle, and really, we've given ourselves a chance to win a couple games. We just didn't have some things go our way.
Hey, Coach, when you talk about things not going your way, you were in that ball game. You scored 3 times in that second quarter, third, and fourth quarter. What kind of motivation is that heading into this season finale against UAPB, that your offense actually can put the football into the end zone, which you've done numerous times, but just not enough times?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a motivation. When you get out on the field, you want to score touchdowns, and offensively, we've done it at times. We just haven't been consistent, and our biggest issue right now is just being consistent and getting in the red zone and coming away with touchdowns as opposed to having to kick field goals.
Coach, talk about this Pine Bluff football team that we're facing on Saturday at 1 o'clock.
This is a very talented Pine Bluff team. They can score a lot of points and score in a hurry. A couple quarterbacks that are really good, a couple running backs that are really good, but I think their receiving core is second to none, and we have our hands cut out for us.
When you talk about defensively, for Texas Southern, I know we've been injured defensively. Other guys have had to play different positions from the offense to the defense. Thurman Mobley, how do you feel that he played against Alabama State, playing in that secondary?
I thought he did a tremendous job. He played some receiver, played some corner, and he's been our punt returner all year. We asked a lot of him. He was, well receptive on doing those things for the team, and he was up for the challenge. And we look forward to him doing a lot of the same things on this weekend.
Coach, we mentioned this quite a bit during the season, changing the culture. Do you feel that culture is starting to change, even though we're 0-10? Do you feel like sometimes we're just 1 or 2 plays away from breaking the plane and getting to the promised land or somewhere close to it? Do you feel the culture is still continuing to change the way that you would like for them to change?
Most definitely. I think we're going in the right direction. We're a player or two away from being where we want to be, but I definitely think we're headed in the right direction with the culture change, and we just got to find that one win, and we think that the rest will follow.
Coach, without giving up too much, we've had some banged-up wide receivers. Will everyone be ready, or did anything concern you this week in preparation for the
No, we got to play with who's healthy. Whoever's healthy and ready to go are the guys that we got to put out there on the field. We've had a week to get them healthy, so we feel comfortable with the guys that we're going to line up with on Saturday. Again, we control what we can control. We focus on that part of it, and if the guy's not healthy, we're not going to play him. So it's a matter of us getting the guys that we do have healthy enough to play this weekend.
Coach McKinney, we appreciate your time on the call this year, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you for having me.
This concludes our call. Before we go, just some very quick updates. As we did note earlier in the call, the SWAC championship game will take place Saturday, December 7th at 3 p.m. at the host institution of the highest seeded team at the end of the regular season. Alcorn State has clinched the Eastern Division, so they will represent the East, and they will play either Southern or Grambling State. Just for clarity, as far as the hosting goes, an Alcorn State victory over Jackson, and they will host regardless of, but a loss, and they will be on the road either to Southern or Grambling with a loss. With that being said, thank you so much for our media members for hopping on the call this year with us and for taking time out to speak with our coaches. We will have a football championship teleconference here going into the Monday leading into the championship game. We will send out that information to our media members so that you'll be more than free to jump on the call. As always, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.